I was born on a cold November evening and grew up alongside 3 brothers and 2 sisters in a small village in Germany. Our father, who was an artist, taught us arts and music. We all played at least 4 instruments and performed in small concerts. Growing up in nature was a great gift from my parents, and I thank them for that, especially for my mother, who's the best mama in the world. My sisters and brothers and everyone else of the supportive people who helped me find my way. At about 15 years, a white boy from South Africa visited our school. At that time, I was interested in different cultures, which resulted in me wanting to speak with him. I was shocked about his views, about the difference between black and white people. He was convinced that white people were superior and black people inferior. And as a result, they had to serve the white race. I had a very hard discussion with this young man. I could not get over the hate in his eyes and the intolerance in his voice, that on the way home I began crying. His mentality was so unfair and brutal. That night I had a very intense dream, which gave me a direction for my life. I was somewhere in a jungle with 2 black women who were my sisters. There was a white house in front of us, on a cleared piece of woodland, surrounded by a fence and lit by spotlights. This was a white man's house, and they had guns and dogs. But they had stolen something holy from my tribe, and it was my challenge to get it back. So I climbed the fence and looked at my sisters, who said, "We are with you. You will do it." So when I woke up that morning, I wanted to fight against racism. I wanted to engage myself for and to Africa. And that was the time when I decided to give birth to the children of Africa. So I would need an African man. At the age of 17, I started traveling and had 8 weeks of summer holidays and wanted to return to school thereafter. So my backpack on my back, a little drum on my hand, and I hitchhiked through Eastern Europe. At the end of the holidays, I found myself at a large hippie festival in the middle of nowhere in the beautiful nature of Czech Republic. More than 10,000 people camping there for weeks. They had no electricity and happy toilet holes in the forest with no privacy. Music was all over the place. Large food circles and incredible workshops. I spent a lot of time in a gypsy tent. Each night they played music around the fire in the middle of the tent. And they had a better drum than mine. So night after night, I waited for the djembe to be free for me to play. The deep bass was my connection to the earth. So I played this heartbeat until my hands were full of blisters. I had come to this festival with a Rastaman from the Caribbean. He accepted me just the way I was, and we became very good friends. Every morning he practiced a very slow dance, which seemed like fighting in the same time. It was really hard to do. It was his morning prayers. He said he was always sad, 'cause the earth is hurt from war and pollution. This is where I discovered my deep love and respect for the Rastafari people. So when my holidays were over, I met some people at this festival in the middle of nowhere who were living close to my hometown. Eventually, I had to leave all the beautiful people to return to school. And back in school, I was watching the sun playing with the leaves in front of the classroom windows, while I was missing all these friends I had met on the way and the freedom. And so I formed a plan. I had a little job after school and saved to buy a real djembe. So when the autumn holiday came by, I went back to Berlin, where I'd first met the Rasta man, and I was able to live at his friend's place. The friends connected me with people who sold this kind of drums I wanted. But I didn't have enough money for that special drum I needed. The fellow said, "Why don't you work for the rest of the money?" I wondered. In school, they told us there's so much unemployment that you have to stay in school a maximum number of years to be happy and get a job. Just go through the coffees and ask them if they have a little job for you. Okay, so I put my best dress on, and the first coffee, they had a kitchen job for me. I started work. I bought my drum, and I wrote a letter to my mom that I would stay in Berlin. My poor mommy, I was only 17. And I played my djembe everywhere. Rainy days, sunshine, night or day. And I learned some guitar too. I was quite punky, and we used to party all night. I joined 2 crazy bands and played in the streets, in the trains, in front of the coffees in the summer. I traveled to London to find the little Rasta man, and I squatted there. Unable to find him, I came back to Berlin, and on my way back, as the bus passed Paris, I saw a lot of African men, and I decided to come back there sometime. While writing poems, I developed a critical eye for the society and the government, and somehow I felt Germany was not the right place to be.